Second down, 13. 45 of Baltimore. Brunell back in the pocket. Has a bit of time. Now being chased. Plants throws. He's looking downfield. He's got a receiver. And it is caught. Jimmy Smith at the 5. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Jacksonville. He gets Wayne Starks for 45 yards.
Barks out for signals. Drops to throw. Has time. Fires the slant. Jimmy's got it this time. 35, 30. Middle of the field. 20. He's going to the 20-yard line. He's going to score. 10, 5. Jimmy Smith. Touchdown. And the Jaguars are right back in this ball game. Barks out the signals. Pressure coming. Steps up. Steps. Turns. Throws. He's got Jimmy. First down, 20. There he goes. 10, 5. Touchdown. Win. Jacksonville. Done under pressure. Steps to avoid. Turns and throws. He's got him in. Caught Jimmy inside the 40-yard line to the 37 and down to the 36.
Congratulations to Jimmy Smith. That is now his 800th career reception, and what a play to get it on.
This team winning right now, it helps bring so much attention to our franchise, what we did back in the day, like we were talking about, these Hall of Fame conversations. But when we're winning, we see the conversations pick up. So we have noticed that. So obviously, I'm pulling for my team to get to this Super Bowl.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
Hopefully they'll be picking up a little bit of that winning momentum again here sometime soon. 2025 is not too soon for that kind of thing to get done, and for Jimmy and Fred's names when it comes to the Hall of Fame heat. Maybe the team winning, as Jimmy said there, maybe it does help a little bit when it comes to the conversations in the room when they're making decisions about who it is and isn't going to wind up in the Hall of Fame. Jimmy certainly felt a little bit of that heat in 2022 when he gave us that comment. Hopefully this team is at least making progress towards doing that kind of thing again. We thought after 2022, Dylan, we all thought, right? Like it was the beginning of a run for the franchise. It was a window that had been opened, and the rest of the AFC South, good luck to you for the next half decade, right? Like that's how we all felt. Well, it took about a half season for that to catch up with all of us. Then it's been a pretty miserable year and a half here in Jacksonville. So we'll see with the new GM, new head coach, the new direction for the franchise, exactly what that's going to look like for them going into 2025. Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark here with you today. We are going to be talking a lot about one of the things that has been focused on throughout this entire offseason by the coaching staff, the GM, what they've been doing on the field. Now, we don't know exactly how improved they might be in this department until we get the pads on here in about 3-4 weeks out at training camp. So we can't truly judge the offensive line and how much they've improved until we get a look at, well, how much they've improved when the football stuff actually gets going. But we are going to talk a lot of offensive line today here on the show. Dylan and I have put together a couple of O-line related top fives for the show this morning. We'll be answering the Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day, just asking for your top 5 rankings this week for our Tuesday top 5 by asking you to tell us who the team's top 5 offensive linemen are going into training camp next week. We'll give you our 5 in that regard as well. We also put together a separate top 5 list, Dylan and I did, that'll be who we want the top 5 offensive linemen to be when we get to the end of the 2025 season. We'll be going through both of those lists as we go through the show this morning. Albert Breer put out an article with the 10 things that will be getting talked about when training camps open across the league. He put that out yesterday as his, what I guess would typically be like his Monday morning quarterback article or whatever the heck they call it anymore over there at SI. But he put out his top 10 stories that will be getting talked about going into training camp. The Jaguars, specifically, you know who, Travis Hunter, made that list. Didn't just make the list of 10 stories. He almost topped it, right? And when you read the description of the why, he almost topped that list compared to, he had Micah Parsons at number 1 on the list. He had the Travis Hunter story at number 2 on the list. As a football fan, like if I just put myself in the shoes, and I think you would agree with me on this, Dylan, if you just put yourself in the shoes of the average football-interested fan, don't you think what's happening with Travis Hunter, wherever he wound up, is way more interesting than whether Micah Parsons gets his contract done?
1,000%. Not even close.
Like, it's just the Dallas thing, I guess, is the reason why Micah Parsons would be number one. But I can't imagine when you're talking about league-wide story kind of interest stuff, I don't know what would be more interesting in training camp than what's happening with Travis Hunter.
No, Aaron Rodgers maybe, just because
he's
new
Aaron
team
Rodgers, yeah.
And he's Aaron Rodgers. Other than that, it's the same ho-hum drum, training camp storylines. Oh yeah, you want to look at this, look at that. You have something that we haven't seen in over, 2 generations.
Yeah.
And, the questions that come with Travis Hunter on, what he's going to play and how much just is still, infinite. And it's still there. And nobody knows other than the coaching staff.
Yeah. You might have had parents or grandparents that were old enough to have watched the last time someone tried to play both ways in the NFL. Or like truly play both ways. It's been over 60 years since it's been attempted, someone doing the two-way playing thing, at least in a full-time capacity kind of way, the way it's being talked about with Hunter. We've been talking about just about daily with the Hunter thing because it's that interesting a story. It's not like it's a bottomless well at this point, right? There's always an interesting angle of some sort to talk about when it comes to the Travis Hunter thing. So we've been talking about it since they made the move to go and get him and exactly what this is going to look like. We don't really know for sure, which is why the conversations continue. And when you're talking about the talking points around the league, I don't know why that wouldn't be the most interesting one. I get it that there is the national media. They don't want to make Jacksonville doing anything, I guess that's the most interesting point. But you don't think that if Travis Hunter had landed in Dallas, certainly it would have been the number one story on that list, right? Like, I don't know how many places that Travis Hunter could have landed where it wouldn't be the number one story on that list. Right, I think Jacksonville is one of the few where they don't even have the guts to make the number one story because it's Jacksonville.
Yeah,
but,
the Jacksonville, Carolina, it'd be one of the bottom teams I usually pick in the top 5.
Right, like I know Cleveland's quarterback controversy is 3rd on the list, so maybe it would have been interesting if he had wound up in Cleveland at 2. They might have had the top 2 stories right in the league going into training camp. Hunter and who the heck is going to be playing quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. But, that's what Albert Breer had to say about it. This is a team that's played in 3 AFC championship games, were a near world beater in 1999 before the team who will not be named got a hold of them, grabbed the football world's attention when they won the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes, right? All of those stories and a few others do grab attention, but the Hunter one it's a different animal altogether. I think it's rare that there is any NFL fan that doesn't have some level of interest in seeing whether or not and how effective Hunter can be playing both ways. Like, if you're just the average football fan, I think it's at least an interesting story to see what's going to happen with it, which is why it's garnering the attention that it is garnering. We mentioned yesterday that we were curious about whether or not a Jaguars off-ball linebacker would be on the ESPN top 10 list for the position this morning. I said it when we mentioned it yesterday, right, that I was not sure which of the two between Foye and Devin Lloyd would be more likely to be on that list. Well, we do have an answer in that regard. We'll get to that on the show today. We will also hear a little bit of Trevor Lawrence, who joined Pardon My Take yesterday. So we got a couple of cuts from him joining them. So we'll hear a little bit from the quarterback. The Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day, your Tuesday top 5. How do you rank the Jaguars' top 5 offensive linemen going into training camp next week? I think it's interesting, Dylan, looking at the answers that we've already gotten on that this morning after I put it out last night, but the answers we got last night and this morning, nobody has had the same order of 5, that's for sure. I don't even know that we've had the same order of the top 2, right? That with the there's 3 names, I think, that are in consideration for number 1 on the list, right, for most people. And I think that the opinions on those 3 guys range widely enough, and it's part of the reason I wanted to do this top 5. I don't think there's any absolutely solid ground to make anyone the number 1, right, necessarily on this list. So it creates the space for, we've had 8 or 9 or 10 lists sent in already this morning. nobody's had the same top two in the same order, right? It's just, it is wide open in that regard, and you and I will be going through what we want this list to look like when we get to the end of the season as well, which I think is just as interesting a conversation for where we think they may have improved on the offensive line and where we think it needs to wind up. And in that kind of regard, I was thinking about this yesterday as I was getting ready for this top five, and I was like, it seems silly to me if it's Dylan and me putting together a list about offensive line as if we know anything about NFL offensive line play, but we'll put together our list. Right? We'll do what we can do when we have somebody in the building here that's pretty proficient when it comes to what they did as an offensive lineman in the league and in their opinions on it. So we will be joined by Leon Searcy on the phone for a segment at the bottom of the 10 o'clock hour to get his opinion on what's going on with the improvements for the Jaguars offensive line. So Big Leon will be joining us to educate all of us on what's going on with the offensive line play here in Jacksonville as we do dig deep into the offensive line this morning on the program. So send us your answers on the Chad and Sandy Real Estate Top 5 this morning at 1010XL Fat Tony, at 1010XL Dylan, to send them in there on X. We will get to some of your answers. I saw that Trevor Lawrence wound up winning the poll yesterday, talking about the player that you most expect to have the breakout season this year with about 56% of the vote. Trevor Lawrence wound up winning that. We can look at the full results on that as we go throughout the program this morning as well. We'll get to number 5 on the list when we return as we begin our top 5 countdown. You're listening to a Tuesday edition of Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Hi, everybody. Mike Dempsey here for Duval Ford. Over on Cassett Avenue, Duval Ford's been around for over 110 years. They're a company you can trust. Yes, you want a vehicle, but you want great service as well. Service for your vehicle, great customer service. Duval Ford delivers in every capacity because they value you, the customer. In a partnership with them, it's why they've lasted as long as they have as a legacy company in Jacksonville, Florida. Big number 1, Duval Ford. Go experience it yourself on Cassett Avenue or online at DuvalFord.com.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. If you like the heat, we are always bringing it. 1010XL.
Firehouse Subs has fries. Your hometown hero since '94 just cranked up the heat. Hot subs, crispy fries, golden, pillowy on the inside, and perfectly seasoned. Over 30 Jacksonville locations. Firehouse Subs, homegrown and now with fries.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
The Golf Club of Southampton has big plans for 2026, renewing the greens plus plenty more. But right now is the time to take advantage of member opportunities before the big renovation. Now until the end of September, you can join and save 50% off their initiation fee plus $500 back in a gift card with a 12-month commitment. All the details are at golfsouthampton.com. Playability for every skill level and a huge practice area to hone your game. Lock in now and enjoy membership privileges at the Golf Club of Southampton.
Hacker here, and with 4th of July in the rearview mirror now, all eyes are pointing towards Labor Day and football season. How would you like to drop some weight prior to football season's arrival? Well, Awaken 180 Weight Loss is your answer. Back in February of 2024, I weighed 317 pounds. In just a couple of short weeks, I was down almost 40 pounds thanks to the great folks of Awaken 180 Weight Loss. It's that quick. The coaching you get, the information you get, it's all perfect with Awaken 180 Weight Loss, and they can change your life very, very quickly. If it's time for you to lose weight like it was for me, do yourself a favor and go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com, or call 844-346-1800. Take it from me, a guy that failed in numerous diet programs over the years. I succeeded with Awaken 180 Weight Loss. If I can do it, you can do it. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Tired of wrestling with your shower curtain like it's a fight for the last slice of pizza? Ditch the drama and say hello to a smooth, stylish glass shower enclosure from Baker Glass. Wago Glass is clean, elegant, and makes your bathroom look huge and brighter. Give your shower a makeover and feel like you're in a spa without the price tag. I'm Mac at Baker Glass. Call me and get ready to love your new shower. Let's make your shower great again. Remember, Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
It's about the hunt.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Loggeman.
We take you from the water to the woods.
On the Nimnicht Outdoors Show. Presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning.
Let's go to the woods, y'all.
Saturday mornings from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, buddy. Why so glum?
Stinky ice cubes, Jason. It's all downhill from here.
What?
The tap water at my place smells kind of funky. Funky tap water makes funky ice cubes. I meet a nice girl, invite her back to my place for a cocktail, and blow my whole romantic gesture with a mojito that smells like dog's feet.
Wait, I can totally make you way cooler.
I'm not taking your charity ice cubes, Jason. I have my pride.
Your pride is safe. Our plumbers can be at your house the day you call and install a whole home water purification system. Water tastes better, dishes come out cleaner, even your hair feels better after you shower.
Ooh, the ladies love a man with soft hair, don't they, Jason?
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend every day worried about the water in your own home, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Hey, Googans, Hicken here, and I just want to once again give you this very simple reminder. Wear sunscreen. If you're outside a lot, bring the screen. Put some in your truck, on your boat, in your golf bag, whatever, wherever. Just use it, please. It's hot out there, and I just want you to protect yourself. I use it like it's cool because I think it is. But what's not cool, that's skin cancer. You don't want to deal with that. Go get yourself checked out. It could save your life. Go to beachesdermatology.com and schedule your appointment today. That's beachesdermatology.com.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark here with you. Leon Searcy will be joining us in the next segment here this morning to talk a little bit about where the Jaguars' offensive line is right now. Later this week, tomorrow, Jamal St. Cyr will be joining us in studio for the whole program. So get your Jaguars questions ready for him. And then on Thursday, John Shipley will be joining us for the show here as well. Tom McManus in with us on Friday. But like I said, Leon Searcy going to join us in the next segment. His running mate on that offensive line when the team was at its peak in that run from 96 to 99, Tony Boselli, who rode that success during that 5-year period into a Hall of Fame jacket. But Tony Boselli was kind enough to join us here on Jaguars Today. What was it, 5-6 weeks ago now, I guess. And he talked about, since we're talking about offensive line stuff today, wanted to get a quick reminder of the way that this issue has been being discussed by the people who should be in the know about where they stand right now and what they want it to be along the offensive line when everything is said and done. That would be Tony Boselli as well as head coach Liam Cohen. We'll hear him talking about this from over the course of the offseason, from the time he got hired until today as we go throughout the show this morning. But let's start with what Tony Boselli had to say about being excited about the team's offensive line when he joined us.
Yeah, I'm really excited about our group. I mean, I think we went and got 4 guys in free agency. We drafted 2. We have, I think if you, I want to get this right, I think we have 9 or 10 guys who've started games in the NFL across the line now. Really happy with what Liam did with our coaching staff, Sean Surratt. watching him operate and his assistants and the details and kind of how they're going through it, I have a lot of confidence in Sean Surratt, our coach, and the group that we've pulled together. It was obviously a point of emphasis. We invested heavily in that area, and I think you're going to see the results on the field. We have a lot of work to do still. Obviously, we got to go through camp, but I think we have good depth, and I think we're going to have a really competitive atmosphere during training camp this year to see who takes one of those 5 jobs up front, and we'll see who's there on opening day.
Yeah, it's a little open, right, about who's going to be the 5 on the offensive line. I think some of those positions are more open than others. Like, I think left guard is probably the most open of them. The guard, I should just say guard, because who knows where they want any of these guys to play. But McCary could play any of those 3 positions on the inside. I think he's going to wind up somewhere in there. We've already had someone send in thinking that they think McCary will wind up being the starting center. I don't think that's a very likely outcome, but it's not impossible with the way things are going into training camp next week. And that's what we're asking today, is basically how you feel about this group right now. All these things are obviously open for change once the pads come on, once they get into the regular season and we see these guys in real situations as well. But right now, it's all about how you feel about where things stand with the offensive line right now. And with that said, let's get the countdown started with number 5.
And you caught me off guard.
It's all good.
Here we go.
Number 5.
Trick Dylan. There. How about you go first then, Dylan, with number 5?
This is for week 1. Week 1, number 5.
This is going into training camp next week. Who do you think?
Okay, so I'm going to say going into training camp, number 5 for me is going to be Ezra Cleveland, because I think the guard position, like you just mentioned, it's going to be a competition between him and Wyatt Milam. And it would not surprise me in the slightest if it's during camp, beginning of the season, or halfway through the year that Wyatt Milam takes Ezra Cleveland's spot. Mm-hmm. I know he got a contract not too long ago, and he got traded from Minnesota 2 years ago. But I'll say Ezra Cleveland, number 5 for me, just because I think that is the position I think that someone else can take.
Yeah, I got Ezra at number 5 too, and it's for basically the same rationale, right? This is mostly about where I feel they are going into camp, right? That's the question we're asking. And one of the guard spots is the most open along the offensive line to me going into that situation, where Milam being the guy that I think would have the best chance to wrestle this spot away from Cleveland. But going into camp, I will give Cleveland the edge. And it felt a little silly to me to not have the 5 players that I expect to be the starters going into the regular season as the 5 on my list today. So I do think the shakiest ground is Ezra Cleveland. That's why he's at number 5 on my list. I think he's from an NFL perspective, I think he's a fine pro, right? Like, I don't think you're in a bad spot if Ezra Cleveland is starting as one of your guards. Like, you can do way worse. We've seen Jacksonville do way worse than Ezra Cleveland at one of the starting guard spots. But I think for now, him being a number 5 on this list makes sense to me, that this is where he should be because of the shaky ground that I perceive for him there. We'll go through the rest of our 5 as we go throughout the show this morning. We'll take a look at some of yours as well. Again, Leon Searcy going to join us in the next segment. But before we get to any of that, quarterback Trevor Lawrence joined Pardon My Take yesterday. He was on there for a while. We pulled a couple of clips from that so that you can hear what's going on with your quarterback. We know he was hanging out and working out with the boys a few weeks ago. Down in some tropical locale.
It was the Bahamas.
Yeah, Bahamas, where all the boys were down there getting some work on the field done. So we know that he's been busy in that regard at some point here in this offseason. But he joined Pardon My Take yesterday, and he was asked about going into year 5 now of his NFL career. He's gotten the big contract, so that's not weighing on him necessarily, but the big contract comes with big responsibility and expectations. It's not that Trevor's not had to deal with expectations at any point in his career since he got to Clemson when he got there as a freshman and led him to that national title. But Trevor Lawrence was asked about if this is, and just how big is this year for him going into year 5.
You try to treat them all the same, but I mean, realistically, like where I'm at in my career, I'm going to year 5, been an up and down so far, the first 4 years for me, and just our team and our situation. I've had, this is my third head coach. I've had a lot of turnover, a lot of change, but I really feel good about the situation we're in. I love Coach Cohen and the whole staff and everyone that's in, all the guys that were brought in free agency, just good dudes, good players too. But I really feel like we've done some great things this offseason as far as just speaking offensively, like the changes we've made, the system we're running, I have a lot of confidence in. This system is, tried and true. The LA and, Minnesota runs it now with O'Connell, all those teams, and they have a lot of success with it. So it's a great system for quarterbacks. And yeah, like where I'm at in my career, year 5, like it's time to go and start winning consistently and be not just that team where it's like, you're always like, no one really takes you seriously. You want to be that team that's always competing for, playoffs, Super Bowls, and you're in the hunt.
Yeah.
So that's, of course, I see it through that lens of like, yeah, it's year 5, and I feel like this is like getting into my prime. Like I got a lot of good years left ahead of me, and I need to really turn it on. And I think what we've built around me and what they've done this offseason has been a great start.
What's your gut reaction to that comment, Dylan?
I think every year is going to be a big year up until it's, going to be, he's later in his career. Later in his career, like after 10 years. Like every quarterback, it's a big year. It's a big year for Lamar. It's a big year for Josh Allen. It's a big year for, I guess it is for Mahomes every year too. Every quarterback that's not Patrick Mahomes, it's a big year for, just because they, they're in win now mode. And for Jacksonville right now, they're in win now mode.
And that's the thing that makes Mahomes. He treats it like a big year.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's just the nature of the beast. You don't have, there's no more patience in the league anymore, and narratives change. We've seen Trevor, it was year 1, okay, with Urban Meyer, okay, that's a wash. You forget about that. The year 2, you improve drastically. You win a playoff game, and now it's up in the air. Like, who is Trevor? Most people believe, like myself, that he's a middle of the road quarterback, that he's around 16 to 18. Some people that doubt, somewhere in the early 20s. So what is the narrative around him? And yeah, it's a big year. Every quarterback has a big year this year for him.
Yeah, I think that's true. Every year is a big year for every quarterback. When you've won the opportunity to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, it's a big year, right? Because, these things go quickly. I think it's interesting watching Jaguars fans online reacting to specifically the comment he made about it's time to start, right? Like, I think Jaguars fans that hear that, I don't blame them when they hear it going, what do you mean time to start, right? Like, that kind of comment, I think, can strike people however it strikes them. And a lot of people are going to hear that and go, that's ludicrous, right? For a player of the caliber of Trevor Lawrence to be talking about it's time to start. I get what he's saying. Like, I can understand his angle on it, right? Because he's just looking at, I can't do anything about the past 4 years, right? I can't do anything specifically about what's happened the last 2 years with the injuries that he's had to deal with, all the frustrations with what's been going on with the coaching staff, blah, 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 what happened his rookie year, all those things. He can't do anything about that. And I think Trevor's personality is exactly what you heard, right? In that cut where he's like, now it's time, right? He'll take that pressure on himself. He'll carry that weight on himself. But I do think some fans, they hear that kind of thing, now it's time, and they're like, well, why wasn't this turned on when you got here, buddy? Like that kind of, I think fans hear it that way. I certainly don't think that's the way that Trevor Lawrence intended it, but you can't do anything about fans hearing it however the heck they want to hear it. One more here from Trevor Lawrence, who talked about his new teammate that the whole league's going to be talking about, as we talked about a moment ago with Albert Breer, getting his top 10 list together and talking about Travis Hunter and how he's going to be used being number 2 on that list. The stories going into training camp across the entire National Football League. Trevor Lawrence was also asked on Pardon My Take about the conditioning from Travis Hunter and just how remarkable it is.
He's unbelievable as far as like the condition and shape he's in. This guy can run all day. He plays DB, he plays receiver. Like he'll run a post route or whatever and say we'll miss it or I want to run it different. But I'll run it again. Just come right back. And other guys, everyone I've played with is like no one does that. That's not shade on anybody else, but it's like no one's trying to run 50 yards full speed again right when they just did it. So it's stuff like that. He's a super hard worker, just a good guy. Like you can tell he doesn't have a lot of like, issues going on and stuff where it's like he's distracted. Like he just seems very focused and like, sticks to himself. He's great.
That's Trevor Lawrence joining Pardon My Take, and he, like everyone else who sees it how the heck does Travis Hunter do what he does? We'll see what that's going to look like as training camp gets started next week, and obviously that's going to add to whatever the plan is to get him ready to play on offense and defense once we get into the regular season, however much they want to do those things. We do not have a clear answer on that yet, but we'll be getting clearer answers once we get into training camp next week. We're talking offensive line today, so we'll talk to our big guy from right here in the building. Leon Searcy going to join us next here on the program. We'll talk offensive line, the state of the Jaguars offensive line with him as we continue along our top 5 this morning as well. Big Leon joining us next here on Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Hi, everybody. Mike Dempsey here for Apex Roofing and Contracting, locally owned and operated in Jacksonville Beach. Look, if rainy season has you down, Apex has your back. They're local, dependable. They're going to make sure that your roof is repaired if it has damage, if it leaks, if it's just plain worn out. They're going to take care of you with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak. That's Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jacksonville Beach or online at apexroofingfl.com.
Jaguars Today.
For the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios at 1010XL. Here's another look behind the microphone at 1010XL with Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
I can't believe I put up with you for so many years.
Mornings on 1010XL.
You know what? I don't need you. Nobody comes to see you anyway.
Storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save 15% on roof replacements and repairs now through July 31st. And financing is available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting. Protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. At JEA, we're committed to keeping our community storm ready all year long. We continue to invest in our electric, water, and wastewater systems to make them more storm resistant. Our crews trim trees to help keep power lines clear from falling debris. Plus, our outage map and My JEA app make it easier than ever to report and track outages. Whatever storm season brings, we're ready to respond, restore, and keep you informed every step of the way. Learn more about our efforts and how you can prepare at jea.com/storm.
As a contractor, finding reliable subcontractors is key to project success. Prosser here. Guys, that's where Lloyd's Heating and Air shines. Not just your mechanical HVAC experts, but your partner, understanding every facet of construction to keep your project on track. Lloyd's will spot issues early before they cause delays. If you're a contractor with a need for reliability, visit Lloyd'sHeatingandAir.com. Lloyd's Heating and Air, keeping you comfortable in every season.
ET here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, you have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits. You have the right to choose your own doctor, too. And I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation, the auto accident experts.
Football season is almost here, so before it arrives, I'm going to get my home organized. Lauren Brooks here. Closets by Design creates custom storage for every space, lifestyle, and budget. From closets to garages to laundry rooms or entertainment centers, anywhere that needs to be organized. Call today to schedule a free in-home consultation and receive 40% off plus an additional 15% off with free installation. Yes, that's 40% off plus an additional 15% off during the month of July. Call 878-9393 or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Fall football starts in July with Donovan Air Electric Plumbing SEC Media Days. Catch it live or catch the best of. Locked down by Instant Keys. Catch the best interviews on demand at 1010XL.com.
If a birthday or an anniversary is looming in your future, take care of it today by ordering a floral arrangement online at CuneFlowers.com. Hi, Flying Jacko here. Take it from me. An arrangement from Cune Flowers works like magic.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, when a customer goes to buy a diamond, how do they know what they are getting?
Frank, that's a good question because what they know comes from the assurances given by the seller, and they can only judge based on the knowledge and reputation of the selling store. Now, over the last 25 years, I've seen some customers misled, and unfortunately, Underwoods was the bearer of bad news too many times. In the 1980s, we saw diamonds brought in with exaggerated grades and no laboratory grading reports. Then in the 90s, we saw some of the poorest cut diamonds ever, even though they had laboratory reports on weight, color, and clarity. Then the American Gem Society opened a laboratory and started grading diamonds for cut, and poorly cut diamonds got priced for what they were. Now we see diamonds from the internet and other places where diamonds are bought sight unseen with a lab report and a bogus appraisal. Unfortunately, not all those diamonds match the reports they're sold with, but how would a customer know? Probably today more than ever, the truest statement is, if you don't know diamonds, you better know a jeweler you can trust.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out The Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At The Y, summer camps every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited, and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
The SEC and the ACC will face off in Jacksonville at the 81st TaxSlayer Gator Bowl game December 27th at 7:30 p.m. Join us for Saturday Night Football in prime time at the bank. Preferred locations and pricing available now at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com.
Guys, want a golf course fairway quality lawn? TopDressing.com just landed in Jacksonville with the golf course secret for St. Augustine grass homeowners. A patented process that aerates and turns your turf into a fairway stunner. Serious golf course technology, but in your yard. Less water, tighter cuts, total neighborhood domination. No one else scores a perfect 10 lawn. Hit TopDressing.com now. You will own the block. Top dress your yard like the pros with TopDressing.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece. Now, more Jaguars today on 1010XL.
Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark here with you. We are talking offensive line on the program this morning. Our Tuesday top 5, asking you, how would you rank the Jaguars' top 5 offensive linemen going into training camp next week? And getting ready for this show, I thought it would be silly for Dylan and I to give all our very unexpert offensive line prognostications when we got a big boy in the studio here that can give us some real answers on what's going on with the Jaguars offensive line and what is fair to expect. So Leon Searcy joining us here on the program this morning. Appreciate it, Leon.
No problem. No problem at all.
Yeah, man. Want to talk about the big guys up front and exactly what the level of expectation should be. Where would you place your general expectation for what the revamped offensive line is going to look like going into the season?
Well, I hope a lot better than last year. I mean, last year this team had a problem converting on, third and shorts and goal line situations. So you would hope that in the free agency, we address some of the issues that was daunting to us last year, which was quite frankly, interiorly we were just soft, soft without a T. We didn't have enough people moving bodies. There was times where I was watching the game, I was praying for stalemates. We couldn't even get stalemates in the games at some particular times, and the running backs would get hit in the backfield. So that's the one thing that this team desperately needs to improve on, the interior of their offensive line. And they did. They addressed the issues. They went into free agents to brought in some guys. But right now it's hard for me to assess how good this offensive line is going to be because they've been in pajamas the last couple of weeks. OTAs, mini camps. I call them pajamas because they ain't put the big boy pads on yet. So once we put the pads on in training camp and they get after it a little bit, then I can give you a clear analysis of what I think this offensive line could be during the season.
What was your evaluation of Anton Harrison after his rookie year?
After his rookie year, I thought the skies were the limit. And, I've been doped. I've been fooled by that. I've been fooled like that over the last 5 to 7 years. When it started with Cam Robertson, had an outstanding rookie year. I thought he was going to be propelling to, new heights. The Jawan Taylor, his rookie year, at right tackle, I thought that, Anton Harrison was the same. But last year, he slipped a little bit. He slipped a lot, not even a little bit. I mean, he was too inconsistent out of his transition, out of his stance, his run game, his hands, his feet, and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, he's he's in a situation right now where I think the new regime has seen that. I mean, I think that Liam Cole kind of called him out a little bit in the presser when he said that, Anton can be good as he wants to be. That's a slight on Anton. That's letting me know that the coaches feels that Anton Harrison is hit or miss. He's wildly too inconsistent. He can be good when he wants to be. So that's a red flag for me when the head coach comes out and calls you out like that.
Yeah, Coach Cohen, as you mentioned, talked about Anton being able to go when he wants to go towards the end of the offseason work. How do you expect Anton to react to that? And what should be looked for from him, especially when the pads go on here in a couple of weeks, to know that the message has been received?
Well, he has to care enough. He has to take it personal. The coach basically said, he's assessed your work habits, your ability to know the difference between being hurt and being injured, and then you're wildly too inconsistent in practice. I'm watching him in OTAs and mini camps, and he's not taking all the one reps. And sometimes he was coming in as a second stringer. So the coaching staff let him know there's going to be healthy competition, that you're not going to be just given this job, just because you're a first-round pick. So he has. Listen, I'm going to be very interested to see how he responds to it. I knew if it was me, I'd be pissed. I would absolutely be pissed that the coaching staff called me out. And I think he needs to grow up a little bit. He's only his third year in the league. Mm-hmm. He should be ascending. He has the talent. He has the ability. He has the size. It's on him. He should be. If every player, listen, I always did this when I played. I made an analysis of myself. I would always look in the mirror and say, don't let you be the problem. So he's got to address a lot of these issues that he's had pressing from last year, and he has to grow from them. That's the only way he's going to get better. But he's got to be honest with himself. You can't, you got to be honest with yourself. Hey, listen, I didn't play well. So knowing that you didn't play well last year, what are you going to do about it this year?
Jaguars legend and XL Primetime star Leon Searcy joining us here on the program to talk a little bit about what's going on with this Jaguars offensive line. How long would you be comfortable with Walker Little being the team's left tackle? I'm okay with Walker Little being the left tackle. I mean, he's another guy in the situation where he's been wildly inconsistent. He's been up and down. I think his best year is probably 2022 down the stretch, when we made that nice little run. But he has some competition behind him as well. And he's been in a situation throughout his career in Jacksonville where he's never won the job. He's been given the job. So that's a little troubling to me as well. Whether it be, suspensions, injuries, or whatever, he's been given a job. So, hopefully a little competition behind him where he has to earn it during training camp will fundamentally make him a little better. I think it's interesting with Walker, too, Leon, and you mentioned he's never won the job. He's been given the extension. He's been kind of half anointed, I guess, the left tackle. We aren't even sure that he's going to win that job, right? Like, it feels like everything's open along the offensive line going into training camp next week. So we'll see how all these things play out. But how much do you expect Walker to be helped given what the weaknesses you see in his game? And it's not physically a lot of the things he does, but it is kind of the mental side, it feels like, for him a lot of times. But how much do you expect him to be helped specifically by the aggressive attitude that they brought in on the offensive line this offseason?
Well, that's I think it's going to help his game fundamentally and technique-wise that this offense is a lot more aggressive than it's been in the last couple of years, because at times, and listen, a lot of players, they hold toughness at a mantle, okay? So I'm not saying that he's soft in any particular, but at times in his technique has been timid, okay? So maybe in this new offense, he can be a lot more aggressive when it comes to transitions around his stance, using his hands, punching guys, sitting on guys, just being fundamentally strong at the point of attack, not only in the pass run game, but also in the pass game. So, listen, I'm hoping that with this new regime that they light a fire in this offensive line, because it needs it. Listen, the very fact that they're running gap blocking bringing it here means that you can't hide it. You're either tough or you're not tough, because a lot of that stuff has to do with down blocks and double teams and pulls and traps and sweeps and around the corners and getting the linebackers and being physical. So if you don't have any furniture movers up front, it's not going to work. You got to have guys that's going to be space eaters and take up space and get after linebackers and blow up D tackles and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that was essentially the type of deep offense that we ran when I was with Pittsburgh, with the Steelers. You know, you can't fake the funk when you got a gap protect, because you got a down block on guys, you got to pull on guys, you got to trap guys, you got to double team, you got to be physical at the point of attack. You don't have one-on-one situations, and I don't know right now if this offensive line is equipped for that kind of physicality, but we'll find out when they put the pads on.
Yeah, which is still a couple of weeks away. You know, we're doing our top 5 today, and it's asking everyone to turn in who they think the top 5 offensive linemen are for the team going into training camp next week. You don't have to give me a complete list of 5, but I would ask, who do you think right now is the Jaguars' best offensive lineman?
Ooh. You know what's sad to say? It's probably the free agent from the Ravens. What is his name?
McCary, yeah.
McCary, yeah. And I'm only giving him that slight. I'm giving him the slight because he played in the offense where you had to be physical, and he had Derrick Henry, and they were probably one of the maybe top 10 offensive lines in the league. Maybe last year, I think they might have been behind the Eagles as far as rushing the ball, but you know, he's been in a situation where he's had success, you know, running the ball as a one-year starter with the Ravens. So I would give him the edge over everybody else right now, because he's had the success of being on a team that can run the ball, and he attributed to that.
With training camp opening up next week, again, the pads coming on the week after that, what battle along the offensive line will you be most interested in when it does get started next week?
Oh, that's easy. I mean, Ezra Cleveland and my guy Wyatt. Yes. I'm watching the left guard position because I like the kid from West Virginia. Absolutely love that kid ever since I saw him at the Senior Bowl, you know, transitioning from tackle to guard. He's physical. He's mean. He's got a look. And listen, I want him. I don't have anything against Ezra Cleveland, but I just think that if you put Wyatt in there at left guard, with him being nasty and being physical, that's going to resonate along the offensive line, I think, as a rookie. And I hope he doesn't change, because, you know, sometimes veterans try to change rookies when they're physical and tough and go hard all the time or whatever. I hope he stays the way he is. He wins that position, and that kind of physicality, that kind of toughness resonates in that offensive line, where that's when I'm looking at the left guard position, that battle. I'm going to be watching that intensely.
Wyatt, maybe your answer for this question as well. You know, Dylan and I putting together our top 5s, I asked him to put together a separate top 5 list talking about the offensive line, Leon, and it is, who do you want the best offensive lineman for the Jaguars to be when we get to the end of 2025? Wyatt.
Yes. I mean, I watched this kid at those bowl games doing the one-on-one drills. He's technically sound. He uses his hands. He sinks the hips. He's physical. He's nasty, and he finishes. If you ever watch his tape at West Virginia, I mean, he played the left tackle position, but he just gets after it. I mean, the last guy that probably excited me this much that I watched on film that Matt Hayes showed me was Cooper Beebe at Kansas State, and I was praying for the Jaguars to take him in the second round. They didn't take him. So, but I'll take this kid. Wyatt from West Virginia, man, you know, as the consolation prize, because I think he has a tremendous upside.
One more here with you, Leon, then we'll let you get ready for XL Primetime coming up here in about an hour. What does the prep look like for an offensive lineman in the couple of weeks before training camp gets going?
Well, you want to. There's a happy medium that you have to have as an offensive lineman. You can't necessarily just sit on your butt for the last couple of weeks before training camp. So you want to still stay refreshed, lifting weights, not too heavy. You want to work on what carries you through training camp, to be honest with you, in my assessment, is your technique and fundamentals and your conditioning. You want to stay condition wise, because you have a tendency when it's hot and you're tired that you got to be mentally equipped to just endure. Understand that training camp is just a mechanism to get your body acclimated to what you're going to have to deal with during the season. So you got to be a top-notch conditioning, and you got to work on your techniques and fundamentals. But I was always, about this time when I was playing, I was always refreshed about getting into training camp, because I knew that training camp was just the obstacle that I had to endure, because I loved playing the game of football. So I knew that, hey, get through this, it's going to make you better. But then when you get to the season, that's what it's really all about.
Leon, appreciate you giving us a few minutes of your time this morning, bud. I'm sure you're on your way in for XL Prime Time coming up here in about an hour.
You got it, bro.
All right, that's Leon Searcy, kind enough to join us to, look, if we're going to talk offensive line, we might as well talk to the offensive line when we got in the building and get some kind of expertise on this particular subject. That was a lot of fun. We'll go around the league and get to a couple of more spots on our list of the top 5 offensive linemen going into training camp next week as we continue along. It's a Tuesday edition of Jaguars Today on 1010 XL.
Hi, everybody. Mike Dempsey here for my friends at Dandy Foods, locally owned and operated. I've been talking about Dandy for about 10 years now, and almost every time I tell you about Dandy's delicious products or the fact that Dandy is a family business serving Jacksonville for almost 70 years. Well, one thing I probably don't say enough is this. Dandy is never frozen. Folks, it's made fresh and delivered daily. That's the difference. You'll see other brands out there, but they're more than likely just thawed out and called fresh. You can tell in the bread especially. Dandy's not all dry and crumbly. Their sandwiches, when you open them, they're soft. Nobody wants a dried out sandwich. The Thompson family understands that. And for me, when I see Dandy's logo with the little guy with the cane on the label, it tells me I'm going to get a trusted brand and a quality sandwich made with fresh bread, fresh meats, and cheeses. So the next time you're out and about, do what I do. You can stop into your nearest Dailies, but wherever you stop, make sure you make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Jaguars Today. From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Your front row seat to history in the making.
The Florida Gators, they are the 2025 national champions.
Your home for the most play-by-play is 1010XL.
Tired of high energy bills? Well, replace those inefficient windows and patio doors now. Don't miss Renewal by Anderson's summer sale. Buy 4 windows or doors and get the 5th one free. No money down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months, but this offer expires July 31st. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Hi, folks. Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Ever wonder what to do with leftover paint that you don't want? Here's a few options. Paint can be placed in the regular trash if it's dry. Simply stir in kitty litter to a thick consistency. Then wait a few days with the lid off till it dries. Also, if the paint is good, there's many charities or churches that would love to have it. If you'd like more tips or have a project, we'd love to help. Go to performance-painting.com. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about letting things roll off of your back. So often we can make big deals out of things that are not really big deals. We can allow them to steal the joy of our day. But let me remind you that don't allow anyone or anything to steal the joy of today. Go out today not letting little things steal the big things that God has in store for you.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Who conquers the Lynx and claims the Claret Jug?
Oh, he's done it.
Take your shot at the Open Championship with 1010XL's new Pick'em contest. Teed up by Pella Windows and Doors. You could win $1,000 of jewelry from Beard's Diamonds. Enter at 1010XL.com.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Right now, they're on their way to disrupt your life, make you uncomfortable, and rob you. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. That's right. Summer heat and humidity are about to attack North Florida again. You know what to do. Call Mike Merritt. Mike Merritt's Heating and Air has a license to chill. When heat and humidity are attacking you, Mike Merritt provides a comfortable chill at a bargain price. Mike has been keeping North Florida comfortable for 30 years. Mike Merritt technicians are never paid commissions, meaning you'll never be pressured to buy something you don't need. And Mike Merritt knows cooling issues can arise anytime. They don't just happen during business hours. So Mike Merritt never charges overtime fees. When you need us, we're here for you. Remember, in the fight against heat and humidity, Mike Merritt has a license to chill. Visit merrittair.com. Florida license number CACO 50384.
I used to dread going to the dentist. Every visit felt like a sales pitch with constant upselling, surprise fees on my bill, and I could never get in when I needed to. But Harbor Dental Care? Totally different. They saw me the next day, gave me honest pricing up front, and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Denny Thompson here. You got to check out Tyson's Showroom Home Theater with surround sound and comfy theater chairs. You can transform your living room into a cinematic experience. I can stay there to watch all my games. It's that comfortable. Call Tyson today and bring the theater experience home. Tyson Sound and Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming Island.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. As temperatures warm up around us, ants come out in droves. And when they move into your home or business, it's unnerving. Terminix knows that ants add up fast. But Terminix subtracts them faster because living with ants isn't any fun. When ants show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with an ant problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
This is your local sports update. I'm RJ Saunders for 1010XL. This update brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. First team All-SEC catcher Luke Heyman became the 5th Florida player to be taken in the 2025 MLB Draft, as the Seattle Mariners called his name with the 422nd overall pick of the 14th round. Heyman joins fellow teammates Colby Shelton, Jake Clemente, Pierce Coppola, and Bobby Bozer as choices in this year's draft. His selection gives Florida 5+ picks in each of the last 3 drafts. The OKC Thunder will face the Orlando Magic tonight to continue their 2025 Summer League. This will be the 3rd game of the Magic's trip in Las Vegas. You can catch the action tonight at 6:30 p.m. on NBA TV. Right now, 84 degrees at 10:58. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark here with you. Mike Dempsey on assignment. Thanks again to Leon Searcy for joining us a moment ago and enlightening us a little bit about what's going on with the Jacksonville Jaguars offensive line, as that has been made our topic of conversation here on the show today. We'll continue our countdown in the top 5, getting to numbers 4 and 3 here in just a moment, and we'll take a look around the league in a moment too. But first, I did see that ESPN this morning. Did you see this? The article they had up about the ranking the best NFL teams since 2000. So the top 25 were the past 25 years. Not a whole lot of drama here. Jaguars aren't going to be mentioned in that article. I bring it up to ask because that puts us just past that 1999 team. I'd be curious if they'd put that 1999 team on it. I doubt they would, even if it was included in the range, because they didn't go to or win the Super Bowl that year. So I doubt that they would rank that team necessarily. Do you think the Jaguars, when they do this again in 25 years, we're getting ready for the 2050 season, how confident are you that one of those 25 seasons will be a top 25 team from the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Man, that's tough. I would say they make a Super Bowl at least. They can make one. The only question is, when is that going to be?
Right.
I don't think it's going to be in the next 5-7 years, just because of the way the AFC is stacked up with Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Mahomes. So I'd probably say, yes, they'll have one team in the next 25 years. That makes that top 25 list.
Yeah, I think it's interesting trying to figure out exactly what that's going to look like. I haven't read the entire article necessarily yet, but I'm curious to see where, specifically that undefeated Patriots team, right, may rank on that kind of thing. I'll see if I can find them as we go through the show this morning. But yeah, I think for the Jaguars to be on that kind of list, they had to have won a Super Bowl, right? Not played in one. They have to have won a Super Bowl. And so that's basically the question we're asking. Do you think they're going to win a Super Bowl in the next 25 years? Right? Because I think that's their only time. I mean, we're talking about it with the Travis Hunter thing this morning already, right? Like, there's no doubt in my mind that that is actually the most interesting story across the league going into training camps. There's no more interesting angle on training camp than what are the Jaguars doing with Travis Hunter. Beyond, look, your interest in your own team is going to be top of the list. But when you're talking about league-wide interest, Hunter is the number one story. But even with that being obviously true, they're not willing to put it at number one on a list. Right? So I look at that and say, if the Jags are going to be in that group in 2050, they're getting ready to do this again, they've won a Super Bowl if they're going to get mentioned, unless they lost the Super Bowl to a team that got into the list. Right? Like, that would be the only other way that they would be mentioned on that kind of list. We'll get to numbers 4 and 3 on our list here this morning. But first, let's take a quick look around the rest of the National Football League.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
The New York Jets and wide receiver Garrett Wilson have agreed to a 4-year, $130 million contract extension with $90 million guaranteed. The $32.5 million that Wilson will be getting on an average annual basis makes him the 5th highest paid wide receiver in the league, behind DK Metcalf at $33 million, CeeDee Lamb at $34, Justin Jefferson at $35, and Jamar Chase at the top with $40.25 million a season. The 4 other receivers averaging at least $30 million a year: A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Brandon Ayuk and Tyreek Hill. The LA Chargers have placed 5 players on their PUP list as they begin their training camp, including wide receivers Mike Williams and Jalen Johnson. With that being said, let's return to our top 5 countdown with number 4.
Number 4.
I'll lead us off here. Number 4 for me, Robert Hainsey, the center. I don't believe that it is realistic for anyone to take the starting center job away from Hainsey, with the exception being the real oddball chance that the team wants Cleveland and Wyatt Milam as their starting guards and McCary as the center. But like I said, I do think that's a long shot, at least in my mind. I don't think Hainsey is much more than a serviceable center, but he does have the advantage of having played in Cohen's offense before. I thought it was interesting listening to Leon talk specifically about Wyatt Milam, right, and how high he is on him going into training camp, the season, everything about him. If he is that kind of player, then I would expect that he's going to win a starting job going into camp. So then the question becomes here with the Hainsey thing is, there enough where would you rather have McCary playing center or playing guard? Would be the decision that the team would have to make. I think early on, the advantage goes to Hainsey because, again, he's played in Liam Cohen's offense, so I do think that gives him a leg up as we go into it in training camp next week, but I don't think that's a lock. I think those are the two kind of the shakiest positions. If they are shaky, indeed, going into training camp next week would be one of the guard spots in center, but I do have Hainsey here at number 4 on my list. How about you, Dylan?
Same for me, and, looking at what you talk about, the offense and having a new coordinator and a new play caller. Trevor's had 3 different centers now in 3 different years. That's not something that, you want to be on your team. And when you start an offensive line, you start with the center and it goes inside out. I know that, the left tackle from a right-handed quarterback is the most valuable position because, you're protecting your quarterback's blind side and those guys get paid a premium. But when you look at the offensive line, you build it. You start with the center. So it'll be interesting to see if Hainsey can, he's going to probably be the guy this year, like you spoke on. Mm-hmm. The only question is, okay, what's the move moving forward? Is it Monaheim? Is he going to be the one that's going to improve? The USC center that they drafted a couple months ago, is he going to be the move for the next couple of years? Because when you start at the offensive line, it starts with the center. And, it's going to be interesting to see if Hainsey can hold that spot because he did sign a 3-year contract this offseason from Tampa.
So that's our number 4s on the list. Let's get to number 3.
Number 3.
Who do you got, Dylan?
Let's see. Number 3, I had Walker Little. This is kind of interesting because if you look at PFF, I think I saw him ranked as the 32nd best left tackle coming into the year, if I'm not mistaken. And I have him 3rd on this list. I just believe that he is going to be the left tackle coming into this season. Everybody talks about the inconsistency like Leon did about 30 minutes ago when we had him on. I mean, they've asked him to play everything. Right tackle, left tackle, move inside a guard. I feel like now he can be a little more consistent now because we all feel like he's going to play left tackle for the whole season, and that's going to be a spot. I don't think there's going to be a lot of confusion of him playing left tackle, maybe right tackle, maybe the swing tackle. Maybe someone gets a spin and he jumps in. Maybe he might play guard. No, he's going to be the left tackle for this season. He knows it going to the year, and that should help him be more consistent this year.
Number 3 for me is Anton Harrison. I still wonder, and I've thought about this a lot, I still wonder if he would be number 1 on these kind of lists for me, and most of the lists that are being sent in to us this morning, if Coach Cohen had not said what he said about him and when he wants to go, he can go, right? And we talked a lot about that with Leon, obviously. Him not having said that, or having said it or not said it, wouldn't make his second season any better, right? It's not any better in hindsight this season, but it is more glaring, it feels like, in hindsight. But it would have made it, at least calm down some of the discussion around Anton right now, and all that Cohen, having said that, did is heated up. And I'm not mad at Cohen for having done that. I think Anton probably needed it. If he's going to reach whatever the potential is for Anton Harrison, and we all thought that he was clearly the team's best offensive lineman coming out of his rookie year, an ascending player, he didn't ascend in year 2. He just didn't. He didn't get any better. He's still a first-round pick going into year 3 after a pretty good rookie campaign. Though not a special rookie campaign, it's kind of a weird exercise, right? When you actually sit down to do this, right, Dylan, it's you really start thinking about what they do and don't have along the offensive line, and you're debating where to put basically the 3 options that we're going to have here in the top 3. It's about what order you want to put them in, right? And you put Walker Little at 3. I put him higher than that. I put Anton at 3. I'm guessing you put him higher than that, right? Somewhere in that number 2 or number 1 spot, but there's no muscle behind where you put any of these guys, right? On these lists at this point, it's just kind of we're doing 5. 5 are going to start. This is kind of how I feel about it going into training camp. So for me, that puts Anton at 3, but that's largely off the comments of Liam Cohen. And I hope that they serve to light a real fire under what I think is a talented player in Anton Harrison, but that's going to be up to Anton, whether or not he takes it and runs with it and actually grows here going into year 3. He was dealing with a bunch of injuries this rookie year. They didn't get in his way. What the heck happened in year 2? And I know I can remember we talked about this with D-Rock a few weeks ago. He was pulling up the next-gen stats that ESPN use to grade the offensive linemen, and he said basically Anton was exactly the same player in year 2 that he was in year 1. So it's not that he got worse in year 2 necessarily, it's that he didn't get any better. And the expectation was that he was clearly going to get better going into his second year. It just didn't happen for him. So we'll see if that can happen now going into year 3 with a little bit of pressure being put on him from the coaching staff and the players that they brought in to compete for some of these spots on the offensive line. Still have 2 and 1 to get to on the list, as well as a look at what we want this list to look like when we get to the end of the 2025 season. Need to let you know as well, do any Jaguars off-ball linebackers land on ESPN's rankings from this morning? We mentioned yesterday that there were 2 guys that would be viable to land on that list. One of them did. We'll let you know who that is and where they landed on that off-ball linebacker list as we continue along. It's a Tuesday edition of Jaguars Today on 1010 XL.
Hi, everybody. Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. Do you want your house to look better, feel better, be more energy efficient, save you a bunch of money? Pella Windows and Doors, absolutely the way to go. I trust them in my home. You can as well. And right now, you're going to save a bunch of money because you can get 0% financing for 60 months. 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or stop by their showroom on Phillips Highway. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
He writes. He speaks.
Amazing, isn't it?
He's nationally syndicated sports writer Matt Hayes, and he's on XL Primetime. Afternoons 2 to 4 on 1010 XL.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Superior products, exceptional service.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
It's hurricane season. Protect your home with 904 Gutters with a Z. That's right. Z as in zone defense for your home. Water damage hits hard. 904 Gutters with a Z hits back harder. Search 904 Gutters with a Z and make the right call.
Be the first to hear from the players and coaches of the SEC.
That's awesome.
The Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing SEC Media Days. Elevated by Lucas Tree Service, Pine Royale Golf Club, and 904 Gutters with a Z.
Summer means fun in all forms. Longer days and more chances to soak up the sun and the fun. Budweiser and Bud Light reminding you to drink wiser. Hydrate between beers and don't sweat it. It's the best way to get home safely.
What does AM and PM stand for in terms of the clock?
Southern Oak Insurance is proud to continue offering coverage statewide. Financial stability makes Southern Oak Insurance a wise choice for your homeowner's insurance needs. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
AM stands for anti-meridium, before midday, and PM stands for post-meridium, afternoon.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Attention golfers, Hidden Hills Golf Club is an attractive destination for golfers all over the Southeast. You too will enjoy our classic Arnold Palmer design that will test your game and keep you coming back. Book a tee time at hiddenhillsgc.com.
Vegas, 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 baby.
Vegas, baby. Helmets and Heels is back at Circa Resort and Casino with 2 epic pro football contests, Circa Million and Circa Survivor. Here's the scoop. In Circa Million, pick 5 games against the spread each week for quarterly prizes and a $1 million grand prize for the season winner. Then there's the legendary Circa Survivor. 1 pick a week, no spread. Last one standing wins a guaranteed $15 million. Must enter in Nevada, then play from anywhere. Visit circasports.com for all the details.
Plus, sign up for either contest and score 50% off a 2-night stay at Circa Resort and Casino. You can even join the ultimate football kickoff with Helmets and Heels in Vegas, August 21st and 22nd while you enter. Book your stay at Circa now and chase $21 million in guaranteed prizes, no rake. For full contest details, check out 1010xl.com/Vegas. Vegas, baby.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark here with you. We'll get back to our top 5 countdown today. Asking you, how do you rank the Jaguars' top 5 offensive linemen going into training camp next week? We'll get back to the tops of our list here in just a moment. But as I mentioned yesterday on the program, the ESPN top 10 lists continue to come out. Today was off-ball linebacker. Would a Jaguars linebacker make the list? The answer is yes. Foye Oluokun comes in at number 18 on ESPN's off-ball linebacker rankings today. He's also the first Jaguars player with any kind of blurb about them. We know Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker both made the edge rusher rankings list at 15 and 18 on that list. I can't explain why they included a blurb for Foye Oluokun, but not for numbers 15 and 18 on the edge rusher list, but that's the way ESPN did it. So the blurb for Foye Oluokun read, solid pro, tackling machine, doesn't have a great playmaking element to his game, but can be schemed as a rusher on interior pressures. That's from an NFL personnel evaluator. It's inexplicable to me that we need 21 little blurbs about off-ball linebackers, but we can't get 15 about edge rushers in the National Football League. That's a little bit crazy, ESPN. Pick it up, boys. Wide receivers will be the position group that will be addressed by their list tomorrow. And so we'll see exactly what's going on with Brian Thomas Jr. on that list when we get into that tomorrow. Now, for the last couple on our countdown, before we get to it, though, Let's go back in time to right after Liam Cohen was hired as the head coach here in Jacksonville. Frank Frangie had an opportunity to sit down with Coach Cohen, and one of the things they got into was the offensive line, and Cohen talked about the offensive line and his plan. This is before they did anything, before free agency. This was the day that he did his press conference. Down there when he was announced as the new head coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Frangie had the opportunity to sit down with Liam Cohen, and Liam Cohen had this to say about how big of a need he thought offensive line was going to be going into it.
That's the number one thing that we need to really get right. Like that is such an important position. When you go into a game plan, what we think about is how do we take care of and protect and make the game easier for the quarterback and the offensive line on the offensive side of the ball. On the flip side of it, defensively, how do we impact and affect the quarterback and the offensive line? That's really what we're trying to get accomplished. So the O-line hire, that process, that culture, all of what goes into that position, that's going to be one of the top hires that we make this year.
It is. And so we'll see. We have no idea whether or not they did anything right when it comes to trying to revamp this offensive line, but we know that they made it a priority going into their first offseason as head coach and GM. We won't know until we get the pads on here in a couple weeks exactly how improved they might be, and especially when the season gets here, we'll see what's going on with the Jaguars offensive line. But today we're asking for your top five offensive linemen for the Jags going into training camp next week. We're on to number 2 on the list.
Number 2.
So, Dylan, who do you have at 2?
I got Anton Harrison. Feels like a big boomer bust kind of season for him. If he doesn't put it together, I wonder, if he's going to be the guy going into next year. Maybe they might draft a tackle in the draft next year, but it also could be a season where we saw flashes like he did his rookie year, and he becomes, one of the top 10 guys in his position, or right around at, in that bubble in the top 10. It depends on how serious he wants to take it. Like Leon said, not too long ago on the show. Is he going to take himself serious and take care of himself and watch the film and do what he has to do to be one of the best guys as positioned in the league? Or is he going to continue to do what he did last year and not take it as serious and, be inconsistent?
Yeah, there was no other player. Can you remember another player in this entire offseason that I called out in any way?
No. Anytime he was asked about anybody, it was he's doing good. Like Tuden put a ball in the ground. Yeah, he did, but he's doing good. He's learned off. It was always this person's doing good. He was the only person that got called out.
Yeah, the most pointed comment certainly in the direction of Anton Harrison. So we'll see if he responds to any of that. Number 2 for me, that's where I have Walker Little. He is the left tackle and has all of the physical tools to be a longer-term answer for the team at that spot. I would love to see the attitude that seems to have been added to the room here in this offseason rub off on him, because I do think that is what is principally missing from his game. It's why he doesn't win the starting competition with Antoine a couple of years ago. It's always held him back. Right? Like it's always held him back a little bit. Well, now he's the left tackle, so we don't have to worry about that necessarily. But I don't think the best thing for him would be for the competition to be somewhat open and him to just win the darn thing. But we all thought that's what was going to happen when Cam Robinson had the suspension to start the year. It was, what do you want to see come out of that? And I said it at the time. I want to see Walker Little play well enough that when we come out of the suspension, we're all saying, you're going to have to wait a little while, Cam. Right? Like, that's what I wanted the result of that to be the beginning of Walker Little being the long-term plan at left tackle. Well, they've given him the extension, but it's not this group of guys that gave him the extension, so we'll see where he actually is on the priority list among the offensive linemen. So that gets us to number 1. We'll get to that with a 10-10 take.
10-10
take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take is serviced by Ideal Conditions Heating and Air, your go-to local HVAC company, veteran owned and operated.
And now number 1.
Number 1.
And getting 5-1 for me, Ezra Cleveland at 5, Robert Hainsey 4, Anton Harrison 3, Walker Little at number 2. And number 1, I think for both of us, is going to be Patrick McCary. I don't think that there are a bunch of scenarios where I would be happy if he is at this spot on the kind of list that we're talking about for end of the year. But in a group with all the questions that this group still has and the versatility and the paycheck that he's got as he's coming in on the Jaguars offensive line, he is at the number 1 spot on my list, at least going into the season this year for the Jacksonville Jaguars. How about you?
Yeah, same here. I mean, you look at all the best offensive line or the best teams in the NFL a year ago. Baltimore was one of them, and he was one of those guys in the interior. I feel like of all the guys that have all the questions, everyone has a big glaring question except for this guy, Makari. Playing on the inside, probably going to play right guard. And, everyone expects him to have a good season. We've all talked about the last 2 years. Jacksonville has not been able to pick up the 3rd and short or in the goal line, get the QB sneak. Well, this is improved right here with this guard. And you saw, Baltimore was able to move a lot of bodies around with Derrick Henry a year ago. You expect that this season to happen in Jacksonville.
Yeah, he's the attitude, right? And it's the combination of bringing in a guy like McCary and Wyatt Milam, like these kinds of guys on the interior, even based on the reputation of a guy like Hainsey, seems to play with a little bit of that attitude as well. It's the possibility of adding that kind of thing to the offensive line. It's hard for me not to have made McCary number 1 on this list for now, right? Like going into the season. I do think it's going to be interesting when we get into, before we get out of here, that second list that we were talking about, where we want this list, how we want this list to look when we get to the end of the season, right? I am curious to see where some of these names land when we're getting into what we want it to look like at the end of the year. There's a premium on offensive tackle, right? Like just in the league in general, there's a premium at the offensive tackle position on the offensive line. How confident are we, right, that the 2 offensive tackles that the team seem to be pointing towards being the starters going into the season, that they wind up high on a list of where we think or how we think we're going to feel about these guys when we get to the end of the season? I'm curious to see where all of this lands on your list. Obviously, I have my list of 5 as well. We'll get to that before we get done with the show today, and we'll put a bow on it when we return. Thanks again to Leon Searcy for talking offensive line with us a little bit this morning. I'm curious to see if he's the one that's going to be coming in for crosstalk because it was Joe coming in yesterday. So if they're switching back and forth, then I'm guessing we're going to get Leon for crosstalk as well. But we'll see. We'll get into that as we put a bow on this episode of Jaguars Today in just a few moments, as we'll give you our second top 5 here on Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
And now the starting lineup.
The Drill Mornings. Jaguars Today, 10 to noon. Helmets and heels. Noon to 2. XL Primetime. 2 to 4. The Frangie Show. 4 to 6. Into the night with Rick Ballou and Hacker After Dark. Evenings on 1010XL.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Chicken Salad Chick has scratch-made Southern-style chicken salad in every bite. It's quick and delicious, so why wait? Come taste the best chicken salad today at Town Center, Durban Park, Butler Point, and now in Ortega Park. Chicken Salad Chick.
Life is just so busy this time of year. Between work, the kids' games, family vacations, I need a yard hero to free up my weekends.
You mean somebody who does mowing and trimming?
Yeah.
How about mosquito control?
Yeah.
What about irrigation and pet waste removal?
You do that too? You're my lawn hero.
Find your lawn hero at heroeslawncare.com. Heroes Lawn Care, because every lawn needs a hero.
As a law enforcement officer, safe roads are one of my top priorities, ensuring everyone can get home safely each day. Some never will, due to aggressive driving, being distracted, or speeding on the roads. And too often, that results in the toughest part of my job and the longest walk in my life. I'm so sorry. I have some very sad news to share with you.
9 people will be killed on our Florida roadways today. Don't let it be you or a person you love. Buckle up every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
If your house feels like a Florida swamp and your thermostat's just throwing out suggestions, then it's time to call Duck Duck Air Conditioning.
They showed up fast, fixed it right, and even cleaned up after. My house is finally chilled, and so am I.
Whether your AC needs a quick fix, a full replacement, or just a little TLC, Duck Duck Air Conditioning has got you covered with fast and honest service. Call 904-862-6769 to get your cool back, or online at duckduckac.com. When your AC is stuck, call the Duck.
One of Beard's Diamond's most popular events ever is back. It's Christmas in July. Right now, for a limited time, you get as much as 40% off anything in our showcases. Yes, that includes engagement rings, fashion rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, pendants, colored gemstones. This is the annual store-wide sale that everyone loves, because you get December prices in July. Up to 40% off store-wide. Don't miss Christmas in July. Exclusively at Beard's Diamond at the St. John's Town Center and online at beardsdiamonds.com. Shop local. Shop Beards.
I open the door and take you inside the locker room to get you closer to the field, the players and coaches you care about.
Get a look at Hayes' blog on 1010XL.com.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Are you living with diabetic neuropathy? That pain and numbness in your hands or feet? What about chronic knee or shoulder pain? Maybe you've tried various treatments, but they've been ineffective. Now there's a solution. Dr. Ferdinand Formoso specializes in advanced pain management and offers breakthrough neuromodulation treatments for those conditions. His innovative treatments target the source of your pain, offering relief where medications may fall short. All procedures are performed outpatient with no hospitalization required. Just a chance for you to feel and live better. If you want to learn more, Dr. Formoso is hosting free informational classes where he'll explain the benefits of neuromodulation therapies and how they can help eliminate your pain. Spaces are limited, so call to reserve your spot now with offices on the South Side, West Side, and Jacksonville Beach. Relief is possible with Formoso spine and joint pain specialists.
Your grandfather was stronger at 50 than you are at 40. Want to know why? His testosterone was 30% higher than yours. That's not genetics. That's modern life killing your hormones. Stress, chemicals, sitting, it's all crushing your T levels. Male Excel reverses it. Prescription testosterone, thyroid optimization, personalized to you. Over 100,000 men are already winning again. Your turn. Try MaleExcel.com. Free assessment, because you deserve it. Your family deserves it.
Registration is now open for the Circle K Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament. Over $250,000 in cash and prizes available, with payouts up to 20 places. Of course, there's great prizes for lady anglers, and bring along your junior anglers as well. Register today at kingfishtournament.com. Even if you're not on the water, spectators will enjoy fun exhibits, food, kids' activities, and a fireworks display at the Circle K Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament.
If you're 35 to 75, you could get life insurance today. No medical exam needed. I'm Cody with Harborstone Financial. One call could protect your family for life. Call me today, 904-885-9566.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Obviously, talking a lot of offensive line here on the show today. I thought it was interesting. We're going to get into our kind of secondary top five list, where the official top five question today is, how do you feel about how do you rank the offensive linemen going into training camp next week for the Jaguars? I wanted to follow up with what do you expect? What do you want that list to look like when we get to the end of the 2025 season? And I thought it was interesting talking to Leon when I asked him that question. He wanted Wyatt Milam, right, to be considered the team's best offensive lineman when we get to the end of this year. And I think that speaks to how highly Leon thinks of Wyatt Milam before he even begins his NFL career. Obviously excited about him joining the Jaguars offensive line options. Certainly sounds like he expects him to win one of the guard spots at some point here in camp going into the regular season for the football team as well. We'll see exactly how all that's going to look. We'll get into our top fives in that regard here in just a moment as well. But do want to hear one more kind of throwback cut with Liam Cohen talking about prioritizing, right? The offensive line. We kind of mention offhandedly this kind of thing when we talk offensive line, how much they've been willing to directly say how important they think this is for the football team and the success for it. And I think listening to some of these cuts from over the last several months from Liam Cohen, we had Tony Baselli on talking about this as well from when he joined us here on Jaguars Today a few months ago now. And Liam Cohen, one more from him, and this is from back in June when he was asked about the offensive line, and he responded in his press conference with the idea being that the mental and physical toughness of a football team begins with how mentally and physically tough your offensive line can be.
Absolutely does. Yeah, it's really like I've said, it's an interesting dynamic in this time where you can't bang, you can't hit really, you can't establish the line of scrimmage, but you can establish the way that we want to play in some ways in terms of attacking the line of scrimmage, mental toughness when it comes to multiple play calls, handling cans, handling the audibles, zero checks, like them, the way they break the huddle, the way that they're disciplined with cadence. That's definitely helping set the mentality and toughness of the group, specifically on offense. It always starts with those guys up front, although it's just a weird time to truly evaluate it, but you can continue to press that and push that envelope and say, guys, let's continue to be at a high level every single time we come out on the grass and every single protection walkthrough and every single play that we're doing, knowing it's a lot of pass game.
It's obviously been made a priority going into the decisions they made with the football team, going into the way that they practiced, at least pushing it as far as they could under the rules that are applicable during an NFL offseason. Well, those rules are going to be out the window here in just a couple of weeks when the pads come on and the real popping starts for these guys and the real evaluation of how good or bad a job has been done in improving the Jacksonville Jaguars offensive line. We don't know the answers to those kind of questions, but we don't have to wait a whole heck of a lot longer to find out. It's been kind of interesting with the answers that we've been getting from listeners this morning, Dylan, on the top 5 that we asked for. It is very rare, with the number of entries that we've had, no one has had the same order for the top 3. Nobody has had the same order for the top 3 that they've submitted to us this morning. It tells you how wide open the discussion on all of these kind of things are at this point in time. And it's necessarily wide open because there were a lot of open questions about this. It's a priority, but we don't know how well any of them have been addressed. So everyone's kind of approaching it with their own idea of how much they liked or didn't like a player that was already here or a player that's being brought in. It's all just open-ended questions with every position, basically, along the offensive line at this point. It's kind of fun, but it's also a little bit concerning given how much of a priority they've made it. It's hard to know exactly where they stand at a position that they've said is the most important for them to address in the offseason. We still have no idea how well they've done the job of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the list from a couple of people that have sent us a list. Hainsey comes in. I see, Hainsey at 3, Hainsey at 2. Next one, Hainsey at 5.
Right.
Hainsey at 3, Hainsey 4. It's all over the place. I mean, the one group that you would want to know who your solidified people are at the position, it would be the offensive line, because the offensive line is the only position group that has to work in sync, in unison every single play.
Yeah.
Defensive line and linebackers have to every now and then, if they want to run a switch or, when they blitz. But every single play, the offensive line picking up blitzes in the run game, Liam Cohen talks about the screen game, talks about zone blocking, just in the pass blocking. Everything, it has to work with all 5 of those guys working together. And that's why the offensive line that you've seen Liam Cohen and Tony Baselli talk about is the most important group this season for the Jags this year if they want to be successful and take this offense back to where they did a couple of years ago.
And it's kind of a gut check reaction on all this stuff, again, because we haven't seen them do it yet. We know the moves that have been made. We don't know who's going to even necessarily be the starting 5 when we get into the regular season at this point. assuming everyone gets through training camp hopefully healthy, is the way that this whole thing plays out. And decisions aren't made for them in some of these spots, but, you can't necessarily anticipate those kind of things happening for a football team. But what is your gut reaction to how improved do you think they are on the offensive line? And are they improved enough for the offense to be effective for the football team in 2025? Have they done enough to improve the offensive line that there's a real opportunity for whatever your expectation level is for Trevor Lawrence, for him to meet or exceed that, given the changes they've made on the line?
I think last year they were one of the bottom 5 offensive lines in the league. I think best case scenario, I think they can get to low 20s in the league. I'd say about 21 to 23rd. And for me, it would be a successful offensive line would mean that you can run the ball effectively. You can punch it in on your third and short. So you're good in the red zone. And when it comes to Trevor, I would say a good season with Trevor with the offensive line, he could meet those expectations. I just think that, I don't think we're going to see, even if the offensive line is really good this season, I don't know if Trevor's going to put up, close to 5,000 yards and 35 touchdowns and ripping the ball over the field because of how much this team wants to value to run the football. Now, it's not saying that Trevor can't have, an insane season with them running the football, but I think at the end of the day, they want to value running this football a lot. And when that happens, some of the times, instead of, on a 3rd and 4 and throwing the ball into flat or giving the ball to BTJ, you want to run the ball a little bit more. So I'll say, yes, Trevor can exceed those high expectations, but going, to where, what Baker Mayfield did a year ago or what Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen did a year ago, I don't think that happens this year.
Yeah, I think it's interesting from the perspective of, I don't think there were a whole lot of opportunities that they missed necessarily to improve the offensive line during this offseason, right? Like maybe a Trey Smith, if they have been willing to spend in that kind of range, that kind of thing. Ronnie Stanley, I guess, would be towards the top of that list. Mekhi Becton, but I don't know how much better. He might be a little bit better, but I don't know how much better Mekhi Becton is than Patrick McCary, right? Like, I don't know what the gap really is between those players, and it's hard for all of us to tell when it comes to offensive linemen anyway. But Drew Dowman, right, like that kind of thing, but I don't think they're all that much worse off at center, with Hainsey being here than they necessarily would have been with Dowman. They would have been a little bit better, I think, at that spot, but I don't see a bunch of opportunities that they missed necessarily to improve the offensive line. We'll see if they made the right kind of moves to improve, and I tend to agree with you as far as I think they're improved enough that they shouldn't be getting in the way of the offense doing what they want it to do. As I mentioned several times throughout the show this morning, we also put together our top 5 lists for what we want this to look like when we get to the end of the year. And we don't have to spend a whole lot of time on each of these as we're going through them here, Dylan. But what does your list look like for your end of the year list? Just go 5-1 for me.
I'll go 5-1, 5 Hainsey, 4 Wyatt Milam, 3 Walker Little, 2 Macari, and number 1 I had Anton Harrison.
Okay.
I think Anton Harrison's going to have a big season.
I hope so. Like, I hope the fire's been lit underneath that guy and that we see the player we expected to see going into it. Number 5, I did the Dempsey thing. We can't get through one of these, even if he's not here, and not cheat a little bit. At number 5, I did list 2 guys. I did list Hainsey and Monheim on the off chance that I don't know. I don't think Hainsey is a long-term answer necessarily at center. I don't think it has to be a 1-year thing. I don't think it has to be a 2-year thing. But I'm curious to see Monheim with his flexibility and whether center winds up being his best spot, exactly what that'll look like. But I did list both those guys at 5. McCary at 4 for me. Wyatt Milam at 3. Walker Little at 2. And Anton Harrison at number 1. I do think it's hard to avoid putting your tackles right at the top of that list. Like, we're doing the wish list here. It's who do I want to be the best at the end of the year. I want it to be the 2 offensive tackles for the football. It's what I want it to be. I have no problem with Leon, being in love with Wyatt Milam and saying that that's who he wants to see be number. I don't think that's crazy to have him at number 1 on any of these kind of lists. And, I got him at 3 on mine. But I do think it's a bit of a bummer to me, right? Putting this list together with the going into training camp compared to the end of the season where I have McCary at number 4 on this list for how I wanted to look at the end of the season. McCary is a premium Tyler Shatley, right? It's the way that I look at McCary. I think that he can start at all 5 spots on your offensive line. I think he's a little bit better player overall than Shatley is, so he's a bit more of a premium player than Tyler Shatley is, but I don't need the number 1 offensive lineman coming out of this season in my mind to be the guy that can just do everything because nobody else is standing out. Please, let's not have that be the way that we feel about all of this when we actually get to the end of this season. But that's both of our top 5 lists for here this morning. As we'll continue to take a look at some of y'all's as they come in as well. I did want to ask before we get out of here, Dylan, I mentioned that Foye Oluokun came in at number 18 on the list of off-ball linebackers, and we got 2 more lists to go that ESPN will be doing. Tomorrow's wide receiver, then on Thursday, it'll be corners. I don't expect any corner for the Jags to be on that list at all, so I don't think we're going to be very busy with these lists on Thursday, but tomorrow is the day when it comes to where the Jaguars going to be. The edge rusher was a little bit interesting because it was unclear exactly where Josh Hines-Allen and even Trayvon Walker could wind up, but they wound up where they did, 15 and 18 on that particular list. I think you're going to get a full write-up, not even the blurb that we got on Foye Oluokun this morning with that little, he's a tackle machine, essentially, is what the little blurb about Foye said this morning from an unnamed NFL evaluator. Brian Thomas Jr., how high do you think he is on the list tomorrow when it comes out?
No higher than 8. He'll probably be 10.
Why 10?
I think. Because I just don't think that Brian Thomas Jr., I don't think, this is what I think ESPN will do.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that they'll look at the stats and they'll say a lot of the games that he went off in were the second half against garbage teams and garbage time. And, it was a lot against the Titans and the Jets. Had one good game against the Colts. I saw, where was it? Daniel Griffiths this season. Brian Thomas Jr. had 1,300 yards this season?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was. Did you see how many yards he had in the first quarter of every game this season?
No.
93 yards. Oof. He had 93 yards receiving in the first quarter all season and finished with 1,282 yards receiving. So I think he'll barely reach that top 10, even though I think he should be between 5 to 7. But I think he'll be at the highest 8. I think he'll come in at 10 tomorrow, though.
We'll see where he winds up on the list. I know we went through it a little bit when PFF, Trevor Sikkema over at PFF, put out his list of the top 32 wide receivers going into the 2025 season. This was back in May, and I pulled the list up again here a moment ago. He had A.J. Brown at 1, Justin Jefferson 2, Jamar Chase 3, and that's who he had in his first tier of wide receivers. Okay, certainly expect those 3 guys to be in some order. They're at the top of the list tomorrow. Tier 2, we had Amon-Ra St. Brown 4, Puka Nacua 5, CeeDee Lamb 6, Nico Collins 7, Tyreek Hill 8, Mike Evans 9, Terry McLaurin 10, Drake London 11, Malik Neighbors 12. In that list of players that I just went through, where do you think that you should start considering Brian Thomas
right
Jr.?
Around Drake London, Nico, when you were going through that list.
Okay, so Mike Evans at 9, Terry McLaurin 10, Drake London 11, Malik Neighbors 12, Garrett Wilson 13, T. Higgins 14, Brian Thomas Jr. at 15. If he was at 15 on tomorrow's list, how disappointed would you be?
I wouldn't care, but I mean, it just goes to show that I don't know if people just look at a box score or if people just don't care about the logo, because I think a lot of it is what I said earlier. Like, it's just one of those things where, oh yeah, it's receiver, it's garbage time. I mean, the second half of the season, you knew Trevor Lawrence is out and only one person can beat you on offense, and the dude still put up production week in and week out. Well, and that's more impressive. You know, it's impressive when, you know, someone like T. Higgins does it or Jamar Chase, but you have to pick your poison on who you want to guard. When you're on a losing team and you have Gabe Davis hurt and Christian Kirk hurt and you don't have a run game and the offensive line's not good and the quarterback play is not good, one guy can be the only person that can beat you.
Yeah. And
he was still the one that produced. So it doesn't surprise me. But lists like that don't bother me from a national standpoint. It's just one of those things where you know that you're not going to get the recognition, and that's that. I don't really spend too much time on that.
I don't generally either. Like, I don't care where Brian Thomas Jr. is on the list tomorrow. I do kind of want to see it from a watch the Jaguars, like, kick the anthill that is Jaguars fandom, right? If Brian Thomas Jr. is down that low on that kind of list again, and they'll list all the reasons why you're a fool for not having him at whatever spot they feel like he deserves to be, but we'll find out what ESPN wants to do with that tomorrow as they continue their top 10 list. Foye Oluokun, number 18 among off-ball linebackers today on their list, and we got a blurb. Inexplicably got a blurb for him, but not Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker. Go figure. A couple of days ago. So we'll get and react to that tomorrow, but we'll put a bow on this episode of Jaguars Today next. But first, let's say hello to XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill on 1010XL.
Big Leon.
What up?
What's going on? I feel like I haven't talked to you in an hour.
It's been a minute.
Something like that. What do you guys got coming up today on XL Primetime?
Well, we know SEC Media Day up in Atlanta. I think Georgia and Texas is up to bat. Hopefully we can get an interview with Kirby Smart in the house. And then we're going to talk Jags PFF by position, where we rank.
Mm-hmm. When you were in the league, how aware were you of any of that kind of stuff with you or any of your teammates, where they were being ranked?
No, I think with the influx of social media and everything like that, we really didn't have a notion of where we were ranked offense. I knew we were pretty good offensive line wise. Mm-hmm. You know, me and Big Bo and the guys interiorly. But I don't think we cared that much.
Right.
No, I think wins were more important to us than where we ranked amongst, you know, people that voted.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy now. Like with the, you know, NFL.com's doing their top 100 players again. They're doing it 2 at a time. Could they make it any more painful than 2 at a time?
That's bad.
But
I remember in 99 that they had me in the top 100.
Okay.
I think I was 92. I think I wasn't happy with 92.
Right.
They had Big Bo at like 50-something.
Oh, come on.
And I was like, wait a minute. He's good, but is he that better than me? Come on now, damn.
It sounds like offensive line disrespect.
It is.
To me.
Yes,
and that kind of thing. And I do think it's a little bit silly because I can remember talking to the guys when we were doing the show from down at the stadium at the time. And we would have the guys in. They would give them the ballot, right, to fill out for that NFL Top 100. And I'm like, how do you do the ballot yourself? And it's like, I just put my teammates in there.
Well, listen, let me tell you something. If the fans knew how the players voted for Pro Bowls, you wouldn't take any of this stuff seriously. For real. It was like throwing a dart at a board when it came to the Pro Bowl selection.
Like, y'all don't have time to watch everybody else. Y'all know who the best of the best are because that's who you'll watch.
Yeah, all you can assess.
Right.
The people I voted for was the people that I went up against.
Yeah.
I had no idea what other people were doing. So I tell you, the guys that got votes for me was like Rob Burnett. Anybody's on the Ravens defense because they were always tough, okay? They were always tough. I remember that.
No doubt. All right, we'll be listening. XL Primetime coming up next. Appreciate you, Leon.
Mm-hmm.
As he and Joe C are here in town. Matt Hayes still up in Atlanta for the SEC Media Days. I know they're going to be catching up with Kirby Smart here, I think, in the first hour of the program today on XL Primetime. So you can be listening for that. We'll be catching up with Jamal St. Cyr for the program tomorrow here with us. So for Dylan Denmark, for an On Assignment Mike Dempsey, I'm Tony Smith. We will be joined in studio by Jamal St. Cyr for the show tomorrow. So get your Jaguars questions ready for him. XL Primetime is coming up next on 1010 XL.
I told y'all to get off of T-Law.
Jaguars today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Win.